All right, so we have even more Democratic quintessential tomfoolery. So, with the $3.5 trillion infrastructure package being whittled down to fucking back, the number as of now, as far as I know, stands at 1.75 trillion. Although it seems like Pelosi has put paid family leave back into the equation, but that's a different topic for another video. They brought something back. Okay, they got rid of community college. They scrapped lower drug prices for Americans. They scrapped Medicare covering all three of hearing, dental, and vision. They scrapped the paid leave. They scrapped a lot of things. Okay, a lot of good things they took away because the American people doesn't deserve it, and they're bought and owned by corporations, and they rather do the bidding of the corporations than the bidding that is the will of the people. What they brought back was the salt tax. Now, if you aren't aware of what the salt tax is, I'll try to explain it in just a second. But all SALT stands for is state and local taxes, right? And essentially what it is it's a tax deduction. So in 2017, when Donald Trump did his famous, the best thing he ever did, right? These 2017 tax cut, when he fucking cut taxes and all the benefits went to the top 1%, 86% of the benefits went to the top 1%. What he also slid in there was this provision that affected the SALT tax reduction, essentially in blue states. So like California, I believe New Jersey, New York, etc. And what it did was it put a cap on how much these wealthy individuals could deduct on their taxes. And the cap is $10,000. So this is an article from CNN, and I just want to read a little bit of it because it gives you a good understanding of what's happening. Democrats' $1.7 trillion economic and climate bill could end up delivering a tax cut for the richest 5% of Americans, a new analysis finds. The Build Back Better framework released by the White House last week calls for tax increases on the richest families, including a surtax on multimillionaires and billionaires. Although it wasn't addressed in the framework, some observers expect the package will eventually include a repeal of the $10,000 cap on the federal deduction for state and local taxes known as SALT. Some Democrats have said they won't vote for legislation without action on the SALT cap, which has been a particular issue in California, New York, New Jersey, and other high-tax states. The Bipartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget found in an analysis released Friday that repealing the SALT cap would more than offset the planned tax hikes on the rich. A 2-year SALT cap repeal, if included, would reduce tax on the top 5% of earners by over $70 billion in fiscal 2023, the CRFB said. After factoring in the planned tax hikes on the rich, the package would translate to $30 billion net direct tax cut for those in the top 5% when the SALT cap repeal is in effect, the analysis said. Of course, as I explained previously, the 2017 tax law signed by President Donald Trump imposed a 10% or a $10,000 limit on how much state and local taxes that households can deduct from their federal taxes. So that's from CNN. But what I also have is an article from David Sirota that I'll link down below if you'd like to look at it. So this is from a while back, but I just wanted to give you a little bit more insight on the benefits of the SALT tax for these wealthy politicians and people in their districts. The benefits of the SALT cap would flow towards the wealthy. A Brookings Institution study found that almost all 96% of the benefits of repealing the SALT cap would go towards the top fifth of all earners, while more than half, 57%, of the benefits would go to the top 1%. But the SALT caucus aren't just looking out for their wealthy constituents. 3 of the 10 leaders of the SALT caucus, Democratic reps Josh Gottheimer, Mikey Sherrill, and Jamie Raskin, pay more than $10,000 in property taxes, according to property records reviewed by the Daily Poster. If the SALT cap was eliminated, those 3 representatives would together be able to deduct more than $75,000 on their federal taxes that they wouldn't be able to deduct otherwise. Do you get what's going on here? So, and by the way, they completely scrapped all taxes in this infrastructure bill. So at first they were promising a higher corporate tax rate that got axed, a higher top marginal income tax rate that got axed, a higher capital gains tax rate that got axed, because apparently Kirsten Sinema is opposed to any kind of tax raises on the wealthy, which is one of the most radical positions I think I've ever heard of in my life. And she's supposed to be a fucking centrist. No, she's a fucking extremist to the core. That's absolutely insane. But they're using this opportunity to give themselves tax breaks. This is the Democrats, everyone. And they wonder why nobody likes them and votes for them. It is no mystery. It's because of shit like this. This is absolutely sad. It's repulsive. Bernie Sanders has come out and essentially echoed those same sentiments, saying that that's ridiculous. They shouldn't do that. But who knows what's going to happen? This is, I mean, wow. And you know what? We just got news that apparently Nancy Pelosi put paid family leave back into the infrastructure bill. I wonder if she did that so they could slide the SALT tax deductions in there and say, hey, we might be doing tax breaks for the rich, but we got you 4 weeks of paid family leave. I don't know. I'm just giving you this information as it comes to me and perceiving it in my own way. I don't know if that's the play here or maybe it isn't, but I have to say it's incredibly convenient. But this is very sad. This is extremely sad. The people of this country are dealing with a government, two political parties that are totally bought and owned by corporations that doesn't serve them, that hardly does anything ever in their favor, and they're turning away from it and they're neglecting it. And we're seeing it in these uprisings across the country, and I expect it to only get worse from here.